Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your mid-May 2025 love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as the way in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and the gap spread, and the way it works is a look at the past, present, future energies between you and the main love interest. We'll also pull some more cards as well for the bridge and the gap dynamic. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Romantic Tarot. And keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the card to the left as your energy and the card to the right is the other person's. If you feel it's a way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have Sacrifice. So this is the equivalent of the Hangman in traditional tarot. So there could have been something in this connection that made you hesitate, as far as you might have felt like maybe there was going to be too much that you would have had to give up for whatever reason for the relationship to function. Alright, past energy on their side, we have the King of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here, and it could just be saying that they might have held back around expressing their feelings. This archetype might really want to know how someone else is feeling before they come forward and fully express how they're feeling. So it could have been one of those things, and maybe that's why you were feeling like there was some sacrifice at play, right? Because maybe you felt like you were given more emotionally to the connection, and this person was, but I feel like that was just more of the energy they were operating in to really see, fully how you were feeling before they felt more comfortable being more open on their side as well. All right, present energy on your side, we have Desire. This is the equivalent of the Chariot in traditional tarot. So yeah, it looks like there's definitely some growth and more optimism coming forward between the two of you in this connection. And maybe that's partially because they'll be opening up more from what I see on the card on their side. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing with that. So it looks like there's some growth and optimism. So it looks like you, for the majority of you, haven't completely walked away from the connection, and that optimism will start to return. All right, present energy on their side, we have the Page of Cups. So on the one hand, going from the king to a page, but to me, in this regard, it seems more about their openness. So like I said, it seems like in the past, they might have been more reserved around expressing their feelings. Now in the present, they might be more openly expressive, and that could be what's making you feel more comfortable in the connection now as well. All right, future energy on your side, we have the Four of Cups. So yeah, so ultimately it looks like at a certain point you might actually start to feel like you're not still getting enough from the connection emotionally. So it could just be one of those things where the optimism seemed to grow there, right? And like I said, it seemed like more openness on their part. But it looks like as more time passes, you still might feel like, okay, yeah, this is okay, but I feel like I'm still not getting enough from the connection emotionally. All right, and future energy on their side, we have the Ace of Cups. So yeah, I mean, if we look at this here, we see the open gate there and the cup overflowing, right? So yeah, I feel like this is ultimately saying that it looks like their feelings might be growing, and again, their expression of those feelings, they might be getting a bit more comfortable with doing so. But it could just be one of those things where maybe you feel like it's a little bit more sporadic, right? So, especially because the ace energy doesn't necessarily always point to actually taking action on those feelings. So it could just be one of those things where maybe they have their moments, right? Every now and again, they might come through and be more expressive around how they're feeling, but then you might feel like it's not as consistent as you would like. All right, bottom of the deck on your side, we have Triumph. So this is the equivalent of the World in traditional tarot. So yeah, I mean, this is another indicator similar to what we see in the artwork with Desire. That to me ultimately says that the two of you could make this work. Like I said, it just seems like more of an adjustment period where they might not show up emotionally the way you'd ideally like, but what I'm seeing from this, it seems like they are trying to get more comfortable with being more expressive emotionally, so maybe that's not necessarily their comfort zone, but it looks like they are making an effort to do so. All right, bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Lovers. So this is Gemini energy here, and this could just be saying that maybe as we progress through Gemini season, which is coming up soon, right? Could just be saying that that's when they might start to be more expressive and more, at least around their emotions, more expressive. So, and what I'm noticing with these cards too, on your side, we have really the two major arcana, then the third one, if you count the bottom of the deck, whereas on their side, we only have that one at the bottom of the deck. So it could also just be saying that maybe it's more of the speeds that you guys are operating in, as far as maybe you might have felt like this was a significant connection right off the bat, right? Whereas for this person, they might have been a little bit slower to get to that point, but it looks like they are progressing there. But it could just be one of those things where there's that mismatch in the timing between the two of you. But we'll see what the oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see what we get from the messages of oracle card deck. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles first. Okay, and I'll put this deck down. And what I'll do is cut the deck and pull a card. And next, I'll do the same thing with the Wisdom Oracle decks. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles. Okay, now I'll put this down, and just give me a few seconds, and then we'll actually just cut the deck and pull a card from here too. Take this one here, making a mess over here. But we'll take a look at that messages love card first. All right, we have unavailable. It says this person is unable to give you all you deserve. So interesting message there, right? Because like I said, it seems like you were feeling that way in the past, right? With the sacrifice energy. Then like I said, it looks like there's this spike in the optimism on your part in the present. And then it looks like you eventually return to feeling like, I don't know, it seems a little lacking. And like I said, from what I'm seeing on their part, it looks like there is genuine effort there. But like I said, given that she had the three major arcana, whereas they just had the one, could just be one of those things where it's just going to take them longer to get to the level of emotional depth that you're already feeling. So something to think about there, but we'll see what the Wisdom Oracle adds to the mix. All right, we have mending. There's the artwork, and the number is 52. So yeah, so between what you're just talking about there and then seeing this card, I mean, we'll read the message from the book as well, but to me, this could just be saying that, yeah, maybe you're going through a little bit of a rough stretch and then things can start to improve with time, but we'll see what it says. All right, the relationship message says you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you are to move forward. Separate or together, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, what would love do? Only good will come of forgiveness and an honest redress. So interesting message there, because reading that sounds like there was already a split. So for some of you with the sacrifice energy in the past, maybe some of you did ultimately walk away from the connection. If that's the case, it looks like now you might be feeling like you would like to reconcile. So yeah, it could still be some ups and downs there, because like I said, it looks like ultimately you still might end up feeling like you're not emotionally getting what you need, right? Which would support what we see there. So looks like it could be worth at least giving it another chance, but just keep in mind that for some of you might ultimately decide it's not going to be a long-term fit, whereas for others of you, like I said, it looks like with time, they'll open up more. So hope that resonates with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.